Today we're going to be talking about the Mosko Moto Nomad and Nomax tank bags and what I like and dislike about the bag after 20,000 miles and 2 years of usage. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Chad with BeGoneForGood. We do videos all about adventure motorcycling, from the trips we're taking to the bikes that we're on, the gear that we're using, tips, tricks, tutorials, anything about ADV motorcycling, you're gonna find it on this channel. If that's the sort of thing that appeals to you, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you get notifications anytime we upload a new video. And if you like this specific video, hit that thumbs up and leave a comment down below to really help out the channel. Today, as I said, we're gonna be talking about the Nomad tank bag that I've been using for about 2 years, 20,000 miles or so. It's totally broken in. I really understand this bag a lot more now than I did when I first got it. And I'll give you a little bit of an idea of the differences between the old Nomad tank bag and the new Nomax tank bag. There are a few changes in there, nothing overly dramatic, but there are a couple of things that might swing you more towards that new bag, or possibly might allow you to pick up the old one at a discounted price. So the element of this bag that I get the most usage out of, and was kind of a little bit of a surprise to me, is this front beaver tail section. I'd say about 80% of everything that I put into or take out of this bag goes into this beaver tail area because it's just so versatile and so easy to use with these two clips on the side. I stuff my gloves in here, my GPS navigator goes in here, anything that I'm packing in and out, sometimes food from the convenience store or the gas station, drinks, anything along those lines will always be going into this beaver tail. I'd argue that it's possible that a lot of riders could get away with just a beaver tail section on this bag. I don't know if Mosko wants to make that, but I think just having a beaver tail capability, especially with this mesh on the side so it kind of holds everything in there, would be a great idea. This is the #1 aspect that separates this bag from all others. On the front of the beaver tail, they have a bunch of MOLLE strips in here that I've included a carabiner, a cramp buster. I've had different things attached to here like the map protector, and they have a new phone protector that can go on here, as well as a myriad of other bags that you can get that have MOLLE capabilities that aren't from Mosko. There's literally thousands and thousands of different kinds of bags that you can attach to this MOLLE setup because it is a standardized system. I find that to be a really, really great addition to this bag because it allows so much opportunity to customize this bag specifically to the needs that you have. And that can be ride to ride. So it's not just person to person, but if you need an extra bottle holder up here, you can get a MOLLE attached bottle holder to go up here. If you need the map pouch, you can use the map pouch, the phone pouch. You can use a bigger pouch for any sort of incidentals, a medical kit, any pouch or accessory you find with MOLLE on it, you can add to this beaver tail for the ultimate tank bag customization. Once you open up the beaver tail, there are other options for storage in here inside these mesh pockets. I keep a GPS unit in here while I'm traveling, an extra gator, some candy bars and stuff while I'm on the trail. There's spots for an air gauge, pens, pencils, all sorts of stuff fits in here. This is a great place. It expands out really well, so if you need to keep a warming layer in there or extra gloves, anything that's got a little bit more bulk, this can do it, and you can cinch it down with these straps here. So just about anything you need to carry short term, no matter how big it is, will fit up in this beaver tail and be able to be carried through there. One of the other things I really love about this bag, and this comes from traveling down to Honduras and getting stuck in tons of rainstorms, and I mean all day, 16 hours of downpour rain, is how easy it is to get this rain cover out and on the bag to make it a completely waterproof system. Now, I came from a Wolfman before, which did a decent job. There was a slight leakage through the zippers, and some of the pocket areas were a little bad, so it wasn't terrible. It didn't turn into a pool inside my bag, but it's definitely not as good as this is. This is completely watertight. In fact, the cover that I had, I got a slit in pretty early, right on the top, and even with that slit, I'm still never experiencing any issues with water seeping into the bag with this layer on there. So I'm really happy to be able to have this on and off, super easy. I've not done it while I was riding. You're gonna have to stop if you're gonna get this done, so it is a stop, but it goes in and out. There's a little compartment up here with a zipper, and it's packed up and ready to go. Another thing I love about my Mosko Moto Nomad tank bag is actually something that Mosko doesn't include with the bag itself. When you get it delivered, it comes with just these zippers. But on Amazon, for $10 for like 12 of them, I found these Mosko colored zipper pulls that have like this rubber end on them. And with gloves on and all your gear, and sometimes while you're moving, it's so much easier to grab hold of this and operate these than it is with just the standard zipper on there. I don't know why Mosko doesn't include it, but if you go to Amazon, I've left a link down below. They've got all sorts of different colors. You can get black, you can coordinate it with your gear or your bike, or even get the Mosko colored ones. It's super helpful and just makes this bag a lot easier to use. Because there are so many pockets and different areas in this layered approach, one of the things I also really like about this bag is that there are specific places for everything that I keep in the bag. When I had the Wolfman, it was basically just a big tub that everything got thrown into. So your sunglasses, your camera, any paperwork you had, your garage door opener, anything you were carrying for the day just goes in this big tub, and you're kind of sifting through all of that stuff anytime you need to grab something. In here, it's a lot more organized because everything has a specific place. For instance, I've got a zipper down here that holds my Leatherman. Just beneath that, I've got another tool kit that I keep here at the bottom. I've got a tire gauge area specifically in here. I keep my insurance papers in a specific place. There's a little loop fastener in here that I keep my garage door opener in. Everything has a place inside this bag, which is really great, especially if you need to get to anything quickly, is that you know exactly where it is inside this bag. I could direct somebody to any item inside this bag just by telling them which layer and which pocket to go to, which is a really nice feature to have in something that is such a mishmash of different items as a tank bag generally ends up being. One of the things that I didn't initially like about this bag when I bought it was its smaller size, and because of the layered approach, it makes every compartment smaller than obviously what the big compartment was on the Wolfman. So it made it feel like I wasn't going to be able to carry nearly the same amount of stuff, which to a degree is true. There are things that I could have carried in the Wolfman, as far as like a big camera with a big lens, pretty easily because you just drop it in that enormous well and it's fine. Now in here, I can't carry nearly that large of a bulky item, but I can carry a lot of the same things just in a much more organized fashion. As I said before, with that deep well, you would throw your sunglasses in there, you'd throw candy bars for the day, maybe a drink, you'd throw your extra gloves in there, your paperwork, your garage door opener, maybe your tools, things like that all went into that big tub. Now, everything has a specific space, but it took a while to get used to that layered idea. So I will tell you, if you're coming from a big bag, understand that the Mosko is going to be a change. There's going to be a little bit different thought process behind where everything is and how regimented the layout is, because it is a layered system that has pockets for essentially every item that you're going to be putting in here. The bottom section is big enough. I have fit my drone in there. I've got a little DJI Spark and it fits in there, but almost nothing else does then at that point, which is also different from the deep well. What I do find though is that anything else that I need in here is pretty simple to get in, pretty simple to get out and have a dedicated space for. The bottom has a little bit larger well, so you can get some larger items in there. It's nowhere near what you're gonna get out of the big tank bags, but it does force you to organize and kind of get away from dumping everything into your tank bag, which from a minimalist standpoint or from a cleanliness or efficiency standpoint, this is definitely the better way to go. One of the other elements of this tank bag that was different from my previous tank bag and a lot of other tank bags out there is the integrated hydration system. Now, I'll be completely honest with you, I had this bag for a year and a half without even using the hydration system inside of it. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't want to pull a hydration system out for the bag to go back in and to try to stuff it in there and run the hose back around. It seemed like a lot of work for not a lot of payoff, which is funny because I went to Utah and complained about not having enough water on the bike with an empty hydration pack in here. So that's where my head is at. But this last trip where we did the Mid-Atlantic BDR, I decided, hey, I'm finally gonna use it and I'm gonna see what it's like. And if I don't like it, then I can dump it for good and never have to worry about it again. And I turned out to really, really like it. The ease of being able to pop this hose off of the bag, put it in your mouth and grab a quick swig and then put it back on without having to pull a bottle out of a bag or do any other sort of stopping that you need to do. Plus the hose runs right into your helmet, so you don't even need to take that off or flip your chin bar up. Nice and easy, ready to go. It's in the bag right in front of you, so you can kind of feel how much water you have left just by gauging the thickness of the bag or how the water feels inside the bag. The one downside to using the hydration pack inside the bag is it does take up significant amount of space, especially when you have that hydration bladder full. Now with the AT, it has kind of a hump right in the middle underneath this bag. So that takes up a lot of space as well, as this bag kind of collapses around that. So I don't know if it would be the same problem if you had a flatter, more evenly spaced tank, but on the AT, that does become a little bit cumbersome. It makes this bag kind of expand to an uncomfortable size when you put a full bladder inside. Now, if you go to the Mosko Moto website today, you'll not find this bag listed there. Instead, they have their newest model, which is the Nomax. Now, there's a couple of changes that they've made to the bag. It looks fairly similar. The webbing on the front side of the beaver tail is probably the most noticeable difference. It's still a Molly webbing, but it's a much slicker, more space age, laser cut type system rather than these nylon straps that you see from most Molly systems. Everything still works the same. You'd still be able to attach the same pouches and accessories onto it, but it just looks a little bit different. Also included in that difference, they beefed up the webbing a little bit, the mesh webbing for this beaver tail section, so it's kind of a little bit more rugged. And they also added inside here on the carabiner an SD card tool, so you can pop SD cards in and out of your phone pretty easily. I don't know if that's something I would necessarily even use. If I ever have to replace an SD card, I'd have that little tool to do it, but I guess in a pinch, it's nice to know that you've got that tool available if you don't have another way to do it. Speaking of hydration, on the Nomax, they changed the hydration pack a little bit. So instead of being a bottom loader like I have here on the Nomad, it now becomes top loaded. It also includes an insulated hydration tube. The initial, the one on the Nomad, is not insulated, and I'll tell you, when you get out in the sun, it will definitely heat up that water that sits in that tube for whatever amount of time. So that first swig can be a little warm. It's not necessarily the best drink of water you've ever had, the most refreshing. That insulated tube will help kind of tamp that down a little bit and make sure the water stays cold even in the tube. The top loader also seems like a really good idea, as you can access the top of this bag on the bike a lot easier than you can the bottom of the bag. In order for me to get my bladder back in here, I have to pop this off the bike and kind of run it up through. The top load seems like the better idea. One of the other more subtle changes that you're gonna find on the Nomax is in this bottom pocket, instead of just being wide open, there's a couple extra dividers in there. I'm guessing you could put like SD cards, some really small items, possibly even like a key, things like that that you might wanna keep a little bit more secure. It's not wildly useful, but again, as you make slight improvements to this bag each iteration, that seems like exactly the sort of advancement that's really nice to see from the Mosko team, where they're adding just a little bit extra storage, a little bit extra capability every time they re-envision this bag. They also have new buckles that have the split bar on there, so if you do need to replace them, it's nice and easy. You don't have to cut or sew anything, it just goes right back on. It also includes an emergency whistle. Again, I guess it's nice to have. It doesn't seem like the sort of thing that would become really valuable. There's plenty of things that make noise on the bike. There's plenty of ways to make noise and things you can carry with you. But if you're gonna have a buckle on there anyway, if they're gonna include an emergency whistle, all the better for it. So that's my 2-year review of the Mosko Moto Nomad tank bag. Now, if I had to rebuy this bag, I absolutely would do it, but I will tell you, it's not for everybody. If you're coming from a place where you had a tank bag that was really, really big and you liked having all of your stuff being able to get in there, especially if you're carrying rain gear or extra layers in there, this bag is gonna get chewed up a lot faster than some of those bigger Wolfmans or some of the other bags that are out there. So just recognize that if you're looking to go minimal, if you're looking for a small, really efficient tank bag, the Nomad's gonna do really, really well for you. If you like that big cavernous capability and just throwing anything in there, including some really large, bulky items, you might struggle a little bit with the change that the Nomad's gonna bring. Some of the other aspects of it that can weigh on some folks out there that weren't necessarily a factor when I was looking at it, one is the construction of this. This is extremely durable. Mosko makes great products. They have fantastic customer service. So if this ever does get some problems in it, some seams split, you get into a massive accident and need to replace a bunch of parts, you'll be able to work with the Mosko team to get that bag back to a serviceable position. Coupled with that, because of the high quality construction, the great design, the great customer service, Mosko products run at a premium price. So if you're looking for a budget item or you're looking to get a tank bag to just slap on there and go out and play on the weekends, I would probably steer you away from the Mosko just because it is expensive and it's not necessarily something that everybody needs. It's probably a little over-engineered for 70% of the riders out there. It's definitely over-engineered for me. This bag is a lot more capable than I need it to be. There's a lot more features on there than I need to have. It's nice to have those things if you don't mind paying a premium price for it. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Chad with BeGoneForGood. Again, we do videos all about adventure motorcycling. If you like what you saw here, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more from this channel, definitely subscribe to us. Hit that bell so you get notifications anytime we upload a new video. If you have any questions about the Mosko tank bag or any of the other gear that you see on this bike or that you've seen in previous videos, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you have your own Mosko Moto and you think it's just the greatest or the worst bag out there, also leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Other people read those comments, so it kind of helps to get a really good idea of what the community feels as people read through those comments and find out whether the Mosko Moto is worth it for them. Thank you again for watching, and remember, the adventure starts with you, up here and in here.